Good morning, creators, and welcome to another UEFN tutorial. Have you ever wanted to lock a mechanic, like a moderation device or a special room behind a passcode? Well, this is the tutorial for you. As always, feel free to leave a like and subscribe. This is a free resource, so it's very helpful if you do that. Follow me on my socials if you're interested in my contents, and you can join my Discord below if you want to chat about Verse or anything. Without further ado, let's get into it. As with every UI tutorial, I'm going to start off with a widget blueprint. So go to your content browser, user interface, widget blueprint, do a user widget. I'm going to name this the pin pad. Double click to open it up. And we're going to place it in. So the first thing we want to do is add a canvas panel. And then add an image. And an overlay. And also a text block. Inside of this overlay, we want to add our image that we pulled in. And we also want to add our text block after the image. Let's go ahead and set the horizontal alignment of the image to fill. And the alignment of the text block to center for vertical and horizontal. We're going to set the image color to something dark. We'll just go for black. And this text block is going to be what we use to display the current number in the device. So you can type a number in there and that'll look good. So a pin pad, of course, has a bunch of numbers. So to have them uniform, I'm going to use a stack box like this, have in a horizontal orientation. And I'm going to add some buttons. So we're going to pull out a button loud. And we're going to go ahead and copy this 2 times. We're going to have 3 buttons per layer. So I can go ahead and label these. This is going to be, we'll do 7, 8, 9, like that. And we're also going to go in and set our size to fill. And horizontal and vertical alignment to center. And what fill does, it's going to evenly distribute these buttons. And with the horizontal alignment set, it's going to shrink down the buttons to fit the text. All right. So if you want to add spacing to these buttons, I would just select the middle one, and then you can use padding to add spacing. So you could add like 20 to the left and 20 to the right. And yeah, it'll push both of these evenly. So that's how I would do that. Once you have this first stack box, we're going to copy it, paste it down 3 times. And 1 more time. We can go ahead and change these numbers to 4, 5, and 6. And these to 1, 2, and 3. This one's going to be 0. And this one, we're going to add either quiet or regular button just to have a different color. Probably do regular. Going to fill center, of course. Can delete this button, copy and paste this just so I have another one. Move it over. And we'll set this one to back. Or delete. You say, yeah, delete works well. So delete. And this one will be enter, like that. So delete will remove the last digit you entered, and then enter will submit it. Okay. And let's add one more stack box. This one is going to be vertical, and this is going to be where we put our numbers, our stacks. So go over here, and then pull your stacks into the stack box. Like so. You'll see it looks kind of janky at first. Go into the big stack box and hit size of content on, and that should fix it. And you can order them by selecting one of these stack boxes, and you'll see the arrows that tell you where to order them. So I think that looks about like what I want. Although I kind of want the numbers to be inverted, so I'm going to do that because that looks better to me. So you'll notice these buttons are way too close together. So I'm going to add a little bit of spacing here. So the padding on all of these, I'm going to add 10 to the top and the bottom. See if that looks good. Maybe a little bit more. I feel like they're too close. We'll do 25 on the top and 25 on the bottom. I think that would look perfect. Yeah, that looks a lot better. All right. It's pretty good spacing. I think I mistyped this one, yeah. All right. Next, we're going to want to fill out the rest of this, combine this number bar and this pin pad. So I'm going to use an overlay. I'm going to add a color block, which we're going to use for the background color. I'm going to set the tint to something like a dark blue, like that. For the time being, we're going to turn size of content on, and we're going to fit our big stack box here into this overlay. Cool. So now you'll see it fits all of that inside of here very nicely. Our stack box we want to have vertically and horizontally centered. And our image is going to be filled. So the image is going to be used to kind of scale this. So if I increase the scale, you'll see it adds a little bit of buffer on the sides. So if you want buffer like that, you can add it that way. Otherwise, you set the size to 0 and then use a stack box padding to determine that same thing. So it's really up to you what you want to use. Next, we're going to need one more overlay to contain the entire thing. We're going to add a background color. We're going to make this kind of like a gray, I guess. Something not atrocious. We're going to set the alignments to fill. And we're going to put our overlay in here. And the number in here as well. In the big overlay. Make sure we have size to content on. Okay. That's cool. And we want to center those. And probably center this one as well. Now you'll see it's not super great right now. We're going to use our background color to set the size. So you'll see this basically controls where things are moving. I want this a little bit darker. Cool. So yeah, make sure your overlay containing your number pad is set to horizontally center, and vertical I would do either center vertical or bottom vertical. And if you're doing bottom vertical, I would probably recommend adding a little bit of a padding at the bottom, just so that you don't have it touching the bottom of your widget. Your number overlay we're gonna have at the top, so vertically at the top, still horizontally centered. We're gonna add a little bit of a padding at the top so it isn't touching the very top. And I'm gonna shrink this image just a little bit until I get the right look. You also notice like this black background we added to our number is currently shrunken to the size of our text block. So if you do it something like that. To fix this, just change the image size to your desired size. something like this. And that would look good. Lastly, I want to have this pin pad be centered on my screen. So I'm going to use the anchors to position. We're going to set the anchors to the center and set our margins to 0 and our alignment to 0.5. Alignment is the pivot, so it's going to mean that at 0.5, 0.5, it's going to be at the center of our widget. So wherever our anchor is, it's going to align based off of that. Make sure you have margins off, otherwise you're going to have HUD scaling issues. And make sure you have size of content on. With that done, it's time to progress to the verse file. So go to the verse explorer, add a new verse file to the project. We're going to call this the pin pad device. Going to create. Double click to open. Hope that UEFN does not crash. It might crash. We'll see. All right, we're in. We are going to add the typical UI modules. So that includes Unreal Engine.com/temporary/UI. We also need the spatial math library from Unreal Engine. So spatial math. We also need the Fortnite UI. So copy this. UI. And we probably want to have the verse colors module. So using /verse.org/colors. All right, so now we got to convert our UI into the verse UI. But first, we're going to add the s2m function, which is s2m localizes s of type string, returns a message is equal to quotation mark, curly brackets, s, quotation mark. Basically going to convert a string to a message. So now we're going to make our make canvas function. It's going to return a canvas, of course. Go ahead and have return canvas at the end. So we're going to have a few buttons on here, obviously. We have buttons 1 through 9, including 0. So we'll do button 0 is button loud. With our default text being s2m of 0, like that. We need a lot more buttons. And we'll replace these with the proper numbers. And now we have all our numbers in there. We also need a delete and enter button. So delete is a button regular with default text as s2m delete, and return is a button regular with default text s2m return. Epic. We're also going to need our text block to display our number, so we're going to call this the numTB for text block. It's going to be a text block, of course. Default text is going to be nothing. So s2m of nothing. Default text color, we're going to set to white, which is a named color. So that means we have to go into here, paste it, add named colors. Cool. So that is our number text block. So our canvas is going to have a few things. We're going to work from the top down. So first we have our big overlay. This one has, so we're going to add slots, which is an array, canvas slot, and this one's going to contain our overlay. So widget is an overlay. The anchors we decided are going to be 0.5 and 0.5. So vector 2, x is 0.5 and y is 0.5. And then we also need to declare our maximum anchors. So maximum is, hello, what the heck? My shift key is not working. Huh? Oh, there we go. It was not shift, my bad. So those are anchors, and we also want to have alignments, which is also 0.5 and 0.5. And we need size of contents true. Awesome. So our overlay is going to contain our background image, which is going to be a color block for me. So we're going to have slots, which is an array. And this is going to contain our overlay slot, which has our color block widget. So color block default color is going to be make color from sRGB. And then we're going to copy the values that we have in our editor, which is this number, which is about like 0.01. So we'll do 0.01, comma 0.01, comma 0.01. Cool. We also need to set our default desired size. So default desired size is equal to a vector 2. And these are also pulled from here. We have 655.0, which is x. So x is 655. And then y is going to be 660. 660, like so. Pretty cool. Pretty epic. And that's all you need from that overlay slot. The next one is going to be the overlay containing our, let's see which one this is. Okay, the next one's going to be our pin pad. So this is an overlay, which also has overlay slots. So we're going to add an array of overlay slots. First overlay slot is going to be our image within this number pad. So we're going to do a color block again. Color block. Default color is going to be make color from sRGB. Copy these values here. So 0.0 for red, this for green, and this value for blue. And then we need our default desired size, which we just set a 0 in here. That's the default desired size in inverse, so we don't need to set that. One thing I did forget is we need to set our horizontal and vertical alignments. So let's go back to the previous image. These are set to fill, so horizontal alignments, no underscore, is horizontal alignments dot fill. Vertical alignments is vertical alignments dot fill. Cool. Go ahead and copy this because we're going to paste it a little bit. Go to your pin pad color block, which is right here, and needs to be inside of the overlay slots like that. These are also fill, so we're good here. So I'm gonna add some comments so we can reference this later. Pin pad, color block. This one is the outside color block. Cool. Next thing we need to add is our pin pad. So this is going to be the pin pad, which is an overlay slot. Inside of this overlay slot, we need our horizontal and vertical alignments, which I believe we set to center. So center and center. We did add padding to this one, so we're going to add our padding, which is a margin. Top is 20. Left is 20. Bottom is 20. And right is 20. And then we're going to add our widget, which is going to be the stack box. So widget is a stack box. Orientation is vertical. This is the large stack box. Cool. And then we can start going through and creating our smaller stack boxes. So this is going to have slots, another array with a stack box slot. So this stack box slot is going to contain yet another stack box. This is going to be the one that has 3 numbers in it, or 3 buttons in it. So this widget is a stack box with orientation horizontal. Cool. We also have padding here. The top and bottom is 25, so we're going to make sure that in our stack box slot we have padding as margin. Top is 25. Hello. 0.0, and bottom is also 25. Cool. And this stack box has buttons, so let's go into this. So we have slots, which is another array with a stack box slot. And this stack box slot is going to have our first button, which is going to be button 1. Then we're going to have our next stack box slot, which has its widget, which is button 2. And the next stack box slot, which is going to be widget button 3. Now button 2 is going to have padding. We decided, the middle one. And this is going to have 20 on the left and 20 on the right. So margin left is 20 and right is 20, like that. And we also need to do our horizontal and vertical alignments. I don't know if I paste it. I still have it. Cool. And we have center for both of these. And we need to apply this to all 3 of our stack box slots here. So go ahead and copy. We're going to paste in here. And paste in here. Cool. So we're going to call this one the 1 through 3 stack. And then we're going to add another. In this case, we can just copy and paste this entire stack box slot. Like so. We're going to add a comment. This is going to be the 4 through 6. And then we're going to have another one that's going to be 7 through 9. And the last one's going to be delete 0, and enter. And so you can just paste it down into each of these, like so. And then we need to change the buttons so that's not just 1, 2, and 3 a bunch of times. So 4, 5, and 6, 7, 8, and 9. This is going to be delete, 0, and enter. Button? What did I call it? Hello? Oh, I called it return. Yeah, return or enter. I think enter makes more sense. I didn't realize that I put in something different. My bad. So we'll do enter here. Enter. Okay, cool. I think that about sums that up. Just make sure. I'm not sure if we have to have horizontal alignment fill, but let's just be safe and go ahead and do that as well. So inside of this big stack box slot, we're going to add our horizontal vertical alignments. And we're just going to do fill. Cool. I do think there's one thing I forgot to do. So give me a second. Paste these in. Like so. And I believe our size distribution is something I forgot to do. So let's go to stack box slot and see. Distribution. So we need to declare distribution, otherwise it's going to fill, which is probably not what you want. You want to have a little bit of space. So go into every single one of these stack box slots. You're going to add distribution, which is going to be a optional float. So option, and we're going to do 1.0. So we have even distribution. And we're going to copy this and paste it into every single set of buttons. Every single one. Add that distribution. Like so. And that should look good. Okay, so that's almost the entire make canvas function, except we do need to include our text block. So we need to close out this overlay slot after adding. Oh my goodness, there's so much on my screen. That's the one downside of UI is there's just so much text. All right. I think this is not out of scope. Oops. Let's just do it down there. Man, there's a lot on my screen. Come on, come on. So I think this is the pin pad. So this is the one we want to close out of. Okay, cool. All right, finally. Okay. So we have this last overlay slot, which is going to be the one that contains our text block. So widget is going to be another overlay. Let me just verify Yeah, we did make one mistake. We need to add our overlay slot info to this. So for our pin pad right here, we're going to add, not that, the alignments, which are set to center on the horizontal, center, and bottom on the vertical. And we also have padding, which is just 20 on the bottom. So 20, like so. And I think that's all we need for the pin pad. Now we got the color block, which is a little bit simpler. We have, of course, horizontal alignment, center, and vertical alignment is going to be top, with padding being a margin. And top is 20. And then we need a widget. This stuff I accidentally put in the wrong spot. It should be in the overlay slot, not the new overlay. So the widget of this overlay needs to have slots. So another array with overlay slot. So we can call this the text block stuff, like that. All right, so this has slots. There's just 2 slots in this one, so it's a little bit easier. So we have a color block. And we decided the default color is going to be black, so keep it simple. And we also want to add a default desired size so that it sticks to one size. This is going to be a vector 2. And our default desired size is going to have an X of 400 and a Y of 32. Cool. Next, we're going to add our horizontal and vertical alignments. No padding on this one. And these are just going to be fill. Cool. Then we have our text block. Just going to go ahead and copy this stuff. Paste it on a new overlay slot. And this one is going to have our text block, which we called numTB. And our horizontal vertical alignments are going to be center and center. Cool. So we do need to return our text block so we can update it later on. So we're going to change the return type to a tuple, which is going to have a canvas and a text block. We're going to give a name to this canvas. So my canvas is this canvas. Close it out a little bit. Or add something here. So we're going to return canvas, my canvas, that is. Return my canvas and the numTB. Go back. Cool. All right, so that is nearly it. We just need to add the functions for the buttons. So let's just create a generic function that we're going to use across all of these. We're going to call this the update UI. And this is going to have a number that we're going to be adding to it. And it's also going to have a widget message. it's going to return nothing. So we're going to first add a thing that we can access in the code, which is going to be a stuff per player map, or stuff per agent to be correct. This is going to have an agent as a key, and the contents of this map is going to be a tuple with the canvas we're storing for the player and the text block we need to update. That's a map, of course. So in our update UI function, we're going to do if stuff is equal to stuff per agent at index wm.player, and add a question mark because it's an optional. Then I think we actually probably want to store an additional thing here, just the string that is the number that we're storing. So we're going to get our string. Actually, we can close out of the other stuff for now. So if stuff equals that stuff, we have our stuff. We're going to get our string, which is going to be stuff at index 2, because that's right here. So that's our string. We're going to set string plus equal to quotation mark brackets num quotation mark this needs to be a variable. My bad. It needs to be variable. It's a string, of course. And now I can add stuff to it. So this is going to add a new number. And then we need to update the UI. So we're going to get the text block, which is going to be stuff at index 1 of the player. And then tb.setText. And s2m, of course. And we use string right here. Lastly, we need to update the stuff per player. So we're going to do if set stuff per agent for wm.player. Going to set that equal to, in parentheses, stuff in 0. We need stuff in 1, and then string, which is our updated string. Like so. This also needs to be an optional. So we're going to add option, add curly brackets, and that will properly update our stuff per agent. Now we just need the enter and delete functions. So delete is going to be a function. So we're going to call this delete last character, which is going to have a widget message as a parameter. And so we're going to get our stuff. So if stuff is stuff per agent at wm.player, then we're going to get our string. So var string of type string is equal to stuff at 2. And so we need to go through the string and remove the last character. So this is going to be updated string, type string, set that to equal to nothing, and then we're going to parse through the string. So for character, we'll call this s in string. So basically going through every single character in your string, and we're going to use index to test whenever it is at the max length. So if index is equal to string dot length -1, we're going to do nothing because this means this is the character. This is the last character which you want to remove. Otherwise, we are going to set updated string plus equal to s. So s like that. Cool. So basically, it'll go through the entire string. If it reaches that last character, it will remove it. It'll set the updated string to that. And then we just need to update our UI. So I think actually I should probably rewrite this function to something a little bit different. We're going to call this add number. And it's going to be the same function we just pasted down here. Like this. But our update UI is going to just grab this and not add anything to it. So it's going to grab the string and update the UI. Shouldn't have to set anything. So yeah, this update UI function is just going to grab the stuff, grab the grab the string, update the text block, and then it's done. So we can call the update UI function down here. Update UI, wm.player, or just wm because it's a widget message. And of course we need to set our string and our stuff. So if set stuff per agent at wm.player equal to option in parentheses stuff in parentheses at 0, which is the canvas, stuff in parentheses 1, which is the text block, and then updated string. Basically saying we're going to add our new string and not change anything else. Then we're going to update our UI and it's going to change our UI. So that is cool. In fact, we can also update this function to only use the update UI function. So update UI wm. And I think that looks better. Last major thing we need to do is assign all the buttons to the proper functions. So we're going to create the add one function, which is going to have a widget message. And it is going to return nothing. And it's just going to do the add num with 1 and our widget message. And we're going to copy this for as many numbers as we need. Which we can. These are 0 numbers. And switch over and change the number. All right, so that's done. We have the delete last char function. We also need the enter function. And we will define this in a little bit. So enter, call this enter func for function. It's going to have a widget message, of course. Return nothing. For now, we're just going to print enter. And we got to assign all of these functions to our buttons. So button 0 dot on click subscribe add 0. We're going to copy this and yet again change all the numbers for all the buttons. Okay, now we want to add the delete function to the delete button. So delete dot on click now subscribe delete last character. Then the enter function. On click. Dot subscribe. Enter func. And that's all that you need to do in your make canvas function. Cool. So now you need to assign this pin pad to the player. We're going to use a button device. So at editable, assign pin pad button, which is going to be a button device. Go into your onBegin function, and we want to assign pin pad button dot interactive with events. Dot subscribe. Add pin pad. Add pin pad is going to have an agent. It's going to return nothing. And what we're going to do is first check if they have stuff. Because if they do, we do not want to assign this because they already have it. So do not assign. Otherwise, we're going to make our canvas. Yeah, so make canvas. And we need to grab the canvas from that. Actually, it's already there. So we're going to get our player UI. So if player UI is equal to get player UI for player A, then player UI dot add widget val at 0, which is the canvas. We got to add a player UI slot with input mode as UI input mode dot all, which consumes all inputs, so you can use interactive UIs. And once that's done, we want to set our stuff per player. So set stuff per agent at A equal to option parentheses. And instead of here, we want to have val 0, which is our canvas, val 1, which is our text block, and then just a blank string like quotation marks, and then curly brackets at the end. That is set. Finally, we want to add a remove pin pad function, which is going to have another agent. We're going to do if stuff is equal to stuff per agent at A. Then we are going to get the player UI. So get player UI, player at A, then player UI dot remove widget val at 0, or stuff at 0 actually, stuff at 0. And that means the UI has been removed from the player, so we can set stuff per player equal to nothing. So stuff per agent for A is going to be false, removing the contents of that map. So right now we don't have anything that's really happening with this device. We need to have the inputs and outputs. So we're going to add a fail trigger. Whenever this device fails, it's going to submit on this trigger. We're going to have a success trigger. So success trigger, which is going to output when this succeeds. And then we also need the pin, which is going to be a integer. We're going to set it by default to 0. Okay. And so in our enter function, we need to check if the string that the player has matches the pin. So we're going to get our stuff from the stuff per player map. And then we're going to convert our pin to a string. So pin as string is a string. I'm going to set that equal to pin as a string. And then we're going to compare this string, pin as string, to the stuff string. So stuff at 2. So if it is equal, we're going to print success and then have a debug. So pin is equal to stuff at 2. So we'll print that out. Otherwise, we are going to do else if, or just else, print fail pin is not equal to stuff at 2, just to show you that, oh, if you typed in the wrong number, you failed. Then we're going to trigger the fail trigger, which is going to send our agent, so wm.player. And if you succeed, of course, you're going to have the success trigger. .trigger wm.player. And at the end, we want to remove our UI, so call the remove pinpack function with wm.player. All right. With the code now done, enter your editor, go to verse, build verse code, place down your pinpad device, and we are going to have a few devices. Let me delete the current devices in this map. Get out of here. Okay. We're going to add a button to give us the pin pad. We're going to add a fail and success trigger. Like so. Just pick either one. It's up to you, really. And then set your pin. I'm going to do 4, 8, 15, 16, 23, 42. All right, time to see if it works. Sure hope it does. All right, press the button. It appears on the screen. I can type out numbers for days. We're going to enter. It failed. Activated the fail trigger. What if we try typing out again? Let's delete. Deletes the numbers. Let's type in the right code for 8, 15, 16, 23, 42, and enter. And it succeeded. So it's a very useful device. You can use it for moderation. You can use it for providing hacks and special things for streamers. You can add multiple of them for certain codes, and it's a great device to use. So if you found it helpful, please consider subscribing, leaving a like. If you do anything with this, please tag me. I'd like to see it. But that's pretty much it. Thanks for watching, and have a good day.